Sarah woke to a morning that felt heavier than usual, her coffee barely steaming as she shuffled into the hallway. A white envelope peeked from under the front door, not a coupon or flyer, but something deliberate, stamped with Pine Grove HOA in bold, red letters screaming violation notice. Her heart sank as she read, 48 hours to remove the unauthorized structure or face escalating fines. The structure? A basketball hoop in their driveway. Not a permanent fixture, just a wheeled, sun-faded hoop her 12-year-old son, Ethan, had turned into his sanctuary. Ethan wasn't your average middle schooler. At 6 feet 4 inches, he towered over his teachers, his lanky frame drawing stares and whispers. Is he held back? Strangers would ask. The growth spurt hit hard 2 summers ago, leaving him clumsy, self-conscious, ducking through doorways and dodging birthday party invites. But that who bought secondhand, sturdy despite its changed everything. Hours of dribbling, shooting, and laughing with friends gave him rhythm, confidence, and a space where he wasn't too big, but just right. Now, the HOA wanted it gone, and Sarah knew who was behind it, Mrs. Evelyn Harper, the neighbor across the street whose perfectly trimmed hedges and unwrinkled curtains screamed control. Mrs. Harper, a retired principal turned HOA enforcer, wielded community guidelines like a gavel. She'd sent Sarah friendly reminders before about trash bins left out too long, kids' laughter echoing too loudly, even a typed note last spring criticizing Ethan's gym shorts as inappropriate for public display. Each message dripped with polite venom, but this violation notice was different. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a threat, a 48-hour ultimatum with fines up to $1,000. Sarah's hands trembled as she reread the letter, her coffee forgotten. This wasn't about a hoop. It was about power, about a woman who couldn't stand a 12-year-old's joy disrupting her sterile suburbia. Dinner that night was a battlefield of silence. Ethan, usually ravenous, poked at his food, his broad shoulders hunched as if trying to shrink. Sarah watched, her heart twisting. He wasn't angry or sulky, just small, a boy bracing for loss. It's just a hoop, she wanted to say, but the words wouldn't come. That hoop was his refuge, where he wasn't the awkward giant but a kid in control. Taking it down would be like telling him to dim his light, to fit into someone's narrow idea of appropriate. Sarah's fork clattered to the plate. You don't have to disappear just because someone doesn't like how you shine, she said softly. Ethan glanced up, his eyes flickering with something like hope. Sarah called the HOA, hoping for clarity, but got Dana, a robotic voice spouting community aesthetic standards and structural harmony. No rule explicitly banned basketball hoops, just vague guidelines about visual character. When Sarah asked who filed the complaint, Dana's confidential response was a brick wall. Fury surged. This wasn't a rule, it was a vendetta. Mrs. Harper didn't just want the hoop gone, she wanted Ethan invisible, his laughter silenced, his presence erased. Sarah hung up, her resolve hardening. This was war. Friday, 10 a.m. Sharp, the HOA arrived. 3 knocks, heavy and deliberate, echoed through the house. Sarah was upstairs, folding laundry, when the second knock came, slower, insistent. She started down, heart racing, but Ethan got there first. The door swung open, and there he stood, 6 feet 4 inches, barefoot, in wrinkled shorts and a gray tee, filling the frame like a quiet giant. 2 men froze on the porch, one in a too-tight HOA polo clutching a clipboard, the other filming with a phone, not even hiding it. The clipboard guy blinked, clearly expecting a meek parent, not a 12-year-old who could probably dunk on him. Is your mom home? The man stammered, adjusting his collar. Ethan didn't flinch. She's coming, he said, voice low, steady, an octave deeper than it should be for his age. His stillness wasn't defiance, it was power, the kind that makes grown men shift uncomfortably. Sarah reached the stairs, catching the scene, her son, a monolith, and 2 men shrinking under his gaze. She stepped beside him, hand on his shoulder. "I'm here," she said, her voice calm but razor-sharp. The clipboard guy tried to regain control. "We're verifying the removal of the non-compliant structure. We're recording for documentation." Sarah's eyes locked on the phone. "You're filming a child on my property without consent," she said, each word a blade. The cameraman fumbled, lowering the phone. "It's just, you're done." She cut him off. Clipboard guy opened his mouth, then closed it. "If the hoop stays, we'll escalate fines," he managed. Sarah took one step forward, forcing him back. "Leave. Now. And if you film my son again, you'll regret it." The men retreated, tails between their legs, no threats left to hurl. The neighborhood exploded. By morning, the HOA stunt was all over the Pine Grove Facebook group. "Recording a kid over a basketball hoop?" one post read. "Mrs. Harper's at it again." Another snarked. Stories poured out, fines for whimsical garden gnomes, citations for chalk drawings, warnings for Halloween lights. The dam broke. Neighbors, long silenced by fear of retaliation, found their voices. "That tall kid handled it like a champ," one comment read. "His mom's a hero." Sarah scrolled, coffee in hand, a quiet smile spreading. She hadn't posted, but the truth had. 4 days later, a new HOA letter arrived. No red ink, no threats. Policy update. Temporary recreational structures like basketball hoops are permitted. Mrs. Harper had stepped down for health reasons, replaced by Jenna Lee, a jogger mom who waved at kids. Sarah taped the letter to the fridge, next to the old violation notice. Victory tasted sweet, but quiet. That evening, the driveway hummed with life. Thump. Thump. Swoosh. Ethan was back, shooting threes, laughing, his frame unburdened. Sarah watched from the window, coffee warm in her hands. Across the street, Mrs. Harper's curtains twitched, but no one emerged. Ethan's laugh rang out, a defiant burst of joy. Justice hadn't come in a courtroom or a shouting match. It came in a 12-year-old opening a door, a mother refusing to bend, and a community finally saying, "Enough." What do you think? Was Sarah's stand a triumph of family and freedom, or did she escalate a petty dispute? Should Ethan have stayed out of it, or was his silent strength the perfect response? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate who was right, who was wrong, and what you'd do in their shoes. Hit that like button if you loved this story, and subscribe for more real-life dramas that spark conversation. See you in the comments.